At the first parish I served, it was about halfway through my time there, I received a handwritten letter. The writers, plural, they used we throughout, had an issue. A former member of the parish had started attending again, but he was a challenging figure. He was a person who suffered from some serious mental health issues, and as a result was not always great with boundaries, to say nothing of reading social cues. He was awkward, he talked way too much, and he was obviously yearning for connection. He was also sincerely searching. He was searching for God, and he was searching for meaning. And he was a problem, at least described as such by the letter writers. Now, unknown to them, I had already spent literally hours talking with him, working with him on the very issues that were noted in the letter. Yet the writers of the letter were clear in expressing their disappointment, but not so much in his behavior, but in mine. You see, they had a very clear expectation, which they now expressed in the letter, that I would tell this person he is no longer welcome at the parish. And since I had not done that, they wanted to share with me in no uncertain terms that I had failed them. Not only failed them, they actually said, I actually wronged them by my apparent inaction. And so at the end of the letter, they wrote the following, and I quote, "We do not feel comfortable signing our names to this letter because we do not know who opens the mail in the office." So that was one of my first experiences as a priest with the kingdom of this world. It's a minor event in the grand scheme of things, but it told me a lot. If we're not careful, we can use anything, even religion, maybe especially religion, to hurt instead of heal. All the more reason we need to hear Jesus' answer to Pilate, "My kingdom is not from this world." My kingdom is not from this world. When I teach about the Bible, I often ask a fairly straightforward question. What subject do you think Jesus talks about more than anything else? And I get a variety of responses. They're all about the same in this one. They're usually, well, I think Jesus talked the most about love. No, he talked the most about forgiveness. I think mercy was important. Mercy was important to Jesus. He talked about that a lot. He talked about money. That's it. That's the correct one. He talked about money, which he did talk a lot about. But to a person, and again, myself included, we are surprised it's none of those. No, Jesus talked about the kingdom of God more than anything else. Remember from today's gospel that when Jesus was brought to the courtyard, Pilate did not ask him about money, his radical thoughts on forgiveness, the finer points of prayer. No, Pilate asked Jesus about his politics. To whom did Jesus give his allegiance to? Are you the king of the Jews? That's what Pilate wanted to know. Pretty straightforward question, actually. You see, if you live in a kingdom already, and someone comes along and they talk a great deal about a totally different kingdom, a better and truer one, the local authorities are going to start to get interested in that person. He or she may become a person of interest. Pilate and the temple authorities knew something we in the 21st century, I think, have forgotten. We all still live in a kingdom. It's just under different names. So, what are a few of the kingdoms where you and I may currently reside? Well, there is the kingdom where your worth is based on your wealth, or your income, or your standard of living. That's one kingdom. Another kingdom is based on your identity. It's on your occupation, your social status, maybe even the number of Twitter followers you have. Another kingdom based on your value. What skills are you bringing? What intelligence? Maybe even your looks. And then there is the kingdom of God, where none of those things matter. So here's the question I think we should take from today's gospel. It's not whether we are in a kingdom, but rather which kingdom do we belong to? Now, it would be very easy for me to simply say, we all have dual citizenship, which I suppose in a very superficial way is true. But here's the thing, dual citizenship in two kingdoms is ultimately impossible. Why? Because the kingdom of God is about who rules your heart. The kingdom of God is about who rules your heart. It's where you look for guidance when things go south. When the first question is not what you or I would do in any particular situation, but rather is, what would Jesus have us do today, right now? We know, especially in John's Gospel, that the world is just code for that other kingdom that needs to be overthrown. That other kingdom, that place where might makes right, that other kingdom where there is always something you cannot forgive. That kingdom where compassion most definitely has a limit. That kingdom where you can write off someone as beyond the pale. And we even say it in this, it's a ghastly phrase, we say, someone is beyond redemption. What a horrific phrase. The kingdom of the world is precisely that which is opposed to the kingdom of God. It is into that world, today's world, that Jesus preaches a new kingdom. A kingdom planted into our hearts, and therefore it is in the world, but it is not from it. It is not from it. The kingdom of God is simultaneously the most challenging and demanding, as well as the most satisfying and meaningful place to claim your citizenship. It affects how you live, how you spend your money, who you feel you can judge. It prescribes who you must forgive and how you will handle conflict. It involves seeing others as God sees them, not as the world does. And ultimately, it requires our whole heart, nothing less, nothing less. Pilate asked him, "So you are a king?" Jesus answered, "You say that I am a king. For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone who belongs to the truth listens to my voice. Everyone who belongs to the truth listens to my voice." Whose voice will you listen to today?